I'm good.
All right, guys, we're back. Take two, basically.
Yeah.
So we tried to do this yesterday. I Evel Knieveled my bicycle on the way here.
No, explain. Like, there's a lot of tramways in Amsterdam.
Yep. So there's little like embedded railroad tracks. Gaps.
Everywhere. So that, because actually Amsterdam is very well built. It's actually not that many cars.
No.
It's mostly tramways, trams and bicycles.
Yeah.
And buses.
Yep.
But it's mostly trams and bicycles. So they have those, every street here has an embedded tram rails.
And to their credit, truthfully, if you obey the rules as the rules are, like the paths that are there, for the most part, you're really safe.
So what you learn is that you cross path at 90 degrees.
Yep, you go perpendicular, baby.
That's your best bet.
And I'm at this intersection, and I'm going fast only because I'm impatient, and that's just what I do. If I'm moving somewhere and it's not a bunch of work, I'm going as fast as I can without being tired. And I mean this, I'm going dead out, like full speed. And I do what I've seen many other people do in this intersection, where if you're kind of taking that angle over to cross the street, you kind of jump over and don't follow the straight path, because otherwise you got to slow down, turn 90 degrees. It's a mess. So I kind of just with a few other people drifted over. Well, I was towards the end trying to get a little bit, like one last bit in there, and I was not perpendicular to the tracks. And I was going fast as shit. Yep. And right as I went to make that turn, my both wheels just stuck, right? Like slid in and stopped. So full speed, complete stop, and it didn't just spit me forward, it like grabs you and just whoo, right into the fucking pavement.
Oh yeah, because you went like
this. It like snaps you down like a bullwhip. And I was like, and I fucking just shellacked the ground. This is a huge intersection, by the way. This intersection, if you ever go, you probably take this when you go out to the gym. When you get out there, it's the main intersection you use to get out from that last.
And then all the trams go this way.
Yeah.
Oh,
so it's huge. There's probably
asphalt, baby.
40 people stopped.
Well, see something your size. Did you crack the pavement?
Hard. And
did you crack it? Did you
I don't
break?
know. I went by there today. Everything looked to be intact. Trains are still running. But there was probably 40 people there that just stopped, and I hit the ground so hard. And I almost got hit by the car also that I died in front of. So I get up and I just rip my bent up bike like out of the ground, get out of the way, and just stood there for a second. And everything starts to hurt. I have no idea what condition I'm in. I knew it was probably rough, but I knew it wasn't going to hurt right now.
Am I bleeding? I don't know.
I also knew I had...
I think it's not funny, but it's... Ow!
I had my MacBook Pro in my backpack there the whole time, coming here to podcast. And still, sea of people just stopping everywhere. Nobody's getting back on their bikes. I was like, what the fuck? And some guy comes up to me. He's like, are you okay? And some lady's yelling it from across the thing.
It's nice.
Yeah, they were very friendly. And I kind of hadn't figured it all out yet, you know? So I looked at the guy, and I looked at and I'm not joking. My exact words were, well, I'm pretty durable, so I think I'm probably going to be okay. And I kind of started walking forward with the bike as I was looking at it. The wheels are bent. Handbrakes are broken, hanging by the cable. One of them still attached. All the fenders are ripped. The lights smashed off, dangling there. The back baskets ripped off. Like the whole thing is fucked. This bike is done. And but I'll be goddamned if it didn't roll. So I kind of got on the deal, and the steering wheel or the handlebars are sideways. So what happened to these people saw me eat shit like that. And within 5 seconds, probably,
go back on the
back up on this bike, like handlebars sideways, and the thing's wobbling. And I rode it all the way here, and kind of told Julien.
And that's when the pain started.
The adrenaline starts dying off. Exactly. I didn't even know. I'm wearing a full hooded sweatshirt, like a really thick, heavy duty one.
And the entire back of the sweatshirt was
completely ripped off.
Like his entire back, it just went off.
And I had no idea. As a matter of fact, I didn't even have any pain in my ribs at that moment.
That moment. Yeah.
But I jacked up my wrist a little bit. I don't think it's broken.
And I'm starting to go because then you can tell the adrenaline come down. I was like, you should go home. I'm fine. I'm like, let's wait 2 minutes.
Well, there is something to be said too for the fact that it's like, truth is I've had injuries like this or worse than this with my, let's say, a wrist broken before, where I work with my hands all day. So the fact is, it's like podcasting is not that hard of a job to come to.
But after you reach it that bad, it's not that simple either.
The reason I finally agreed, I was like, nah, we're fine. And then what happened finally was I went, okay, now it's at a point where I can't think.
Yeah.
So,
So well, yeah, because the nerves are coming down.
Yeah.
And again, it's in front of people and everything.
Yeah.
Like the nerves go, it gets to you.
Yeah. So.
But yeah, by the way, because his bicycle had very thin tire, mine has very thick tires. And it almost happened to me once when he went like this. Yeah. And I was like, I will always go at 90 degrees from now on. Yeah. I've learned. So this is same intersection, by the way.
Yeah.
Because there's so many of them. Yeah.
So this has been this comes also 2 days after I had to replace Lincoln's brand new bike that I bought that got stolen in broad daylight.
So it's not a good week for the bicycles.
Not a good week.
Family.
Yeah, we'll be 3 bicycles this week. So.
Yep.
But no, anyway, we're settling in. It's all right. It's real nice to be able to swing by in just a couple of minutes instead of having to fly from Austria or even take the train and shit up.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, now that we are.
Yeah, so we're getting settled in. I can actually afford to come in and cancel and just do it the next day. Yeah. It's not a big deal.
That's going to be cool for training once we have the place too.
Yeah.
Because then we can train earlier and whenever, the day. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I could train before I get hurt. I can train after I get hurt.
Yeah, exactly.
But anyway, so today we want to get into a subject we're going to build on this a lot, and we have quite a few directions we're going with.
Right. So actually, we're going to build on an idea for the next 2-3 podcasts, at least the theoretical podcast. We're going to build on a very interesting idea of. It goes past even that. I would say of the extremes versus the middle.
Yeah.
Which, in a way, is a monster bias that I see in the medical world. But I'm wondering if it's not a societal bias in a way. Like the medical world, if you look, there's only 2 markers, negative and center. Mm-hmm. We don't have so for example, bad health, we have, they say good and bad health, but that's not true. What we have is bad health and with all markers, and then back in the center for homeostasis. Those are the only markers we have. We don't have markers for good health. For example, immune system. What's a marker for an immune system that doesn't work? We know that works. Yeah. What if it works better than normal?
Yeah. What is it?
What are the markers? For? Yeah. What are we? Is there no? There's very, very little of markers for good.
Well, I've noticed that trend in a lot of things, and I've heard it articulated in sport in the past too, where like the whole field of, say, movement or study or science, whatever, movement science, whatever you would call it, should be paying more attention to what is possible on the positive side of those things, like not studying elite athletes to make the average person more elite, but to understand what is along that road, because right now we're hunting for averageness at best.
Right, but we do it for everything else. Like, who doesn't want to be excellent? Who doesn't want to learn from excellent?
Yeah.
Like, if you want a coffee or whatever, you go at the greatest chef, you try once and you go, oh, this how far we can take this.
Yeah.
And now because now you know what to relate to.
Yeah.
This is not as good as that. Like this is what we do with everything. When it comes to movement, we don't have definition of excellence. We have definition of that's bad and that's not bad.
Yeah. There's bad and then there's everything
not
else.
Bad. Yeah. Then there's not bad. Like, that's the shit with
the truth is not bad isn't even, because most people will be able to say that's bad one way or another too.
Right, exactly. Even not bad is kind of
there really is bad and then there's just indifference.
That's why knees out. Yeah. Because knees out was what? Well, don't be bad. Mm-hmm. So don't have the knees in. Yeah. So therefore knees out. But there's no grading to us. So is more knees out better than less knees out? Where is the, you know what I mean? And that's why we never talk about, all we say is knees out. Isn't that weird that we just say knees out? I'm like, but how far?
Yeah.
Is more better?
Yeah.
But if not, where? Outside of the pinky toe for everybody, regardless of your femur length. So, but we know that inside is bad.
Yeah.
I'm like, but why is outside not bad? Because you're not lined up either.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean?
So we're not aiming for a target that's a real target. We're just correcting away from.
Yeah, we're just saying, let's be not bad.
Yeah.
By the way, that's the medical world. I still think the fitness world is an offshoot of the medical world. Like we belong into that field.
Well, you see often that the the fitness space will always use any medical or scientific stuff to validate their stuff. So
we belong into that world.
The processes validate each other. Whether they're perfect or not, they'll always, they're
we are part of the medical world. There's no question.
So I think a flaw in the process of one is going to show itself.
And that's what we see with, for example, so the medical world with doctors is their job is to get you to not bad.
Yeah, don't be sick.
Yeah, it's not a healthcare. It's never been a healthcare system. It's always been a sickness. So when you go to a hospital, when shit are really bad, but there's no doctor coming to your house to make sure you are more than just okay.
Yeah.
And if you look, to me, it looks like it's a conversation you have with homeostasis, for example. Homeostasis, quality of a system to stay within, certain range, and so, temperature or stuff like that. And the idea is that homeostasis is we're at 37.2 degrees, Celsius in the body and everything. And everything goes below that is going to be bad because there's a center. But that's an old school way of thinking that is wrong in that sense, because it does not take into account predictive coding, like the Carl Friston, the making a prediction and everything. Yeah. So that means that if we look at the way the body works, right, with the predictive coding, that means that you're always making a prediction about how much energy you need to spend. Mm-hmm. Right, so that means that the 37.2 is not where you are right now, is where your body thought you were going to be a X amount of time before. It can be milliseconds, it can be whatever, but that's how this works, right?
So that's how mapping ahead of
always.
Homeostasis.
So that means that there is no homeostasis, there is only allostasis. Mm-hmm. Allostasis is really a prediction of homeostasis. For example, like what state do I need to be in when this happens? Mm-hmm. That's allostasis. What how much energy does this needs? For example, virus comes in, I'm going to raise my body temperature. So is that energy? Is it spending more energy? Yes, but that's what allostasis is. It's like, in order for me to be at the state I need to be in, I need to
elevate to whatever the requirements are.
Whatever the requirements. But that means there's no homeostasis then. There's only allostasis. Mm-hmm. And just it depends on the state you're in. Yeah. At this level of activity, this is how much I spend. At this level, this is how much I spend. So there's no homeostasis, there's only allostasis. And it's based on prediction.
Okay.
So there is not bad. I mean, so there's a grade like that. So that idea of center is wrong. You know what I mean? Like
it's a lot of things. It could be semantics. It could be anything. But very often we see a lot of things come in as a binary system where tis this or tis not this, and everything really is much more of more nuanced than that.
Right. And yes, exactly. Because as we're learning forward, and so with allostasis, it's a very interesting idea. If you look at everything being based on that. Why? Because, prediction, somatic errors, this is going to be the base for the next three.
So, you want to you're probably going to real quickly emphasize somatic error.
Yes, because I want to go where allostasis belongs. Perfect. So, somatic error, the difference between prediction and observation, right? In the Bayesian inference model, you have three ways to deal with the somatic error. You have change the prediction, change how you feel about it, change the world to fit the prediction.
Yeah.
Right. If we look at changing the prediction, then we know that's, the brain down, looking at things the wrong way. Changing the world, that's action-based.
Yep.
So what is changing how you feel about it? That can be allostasis, for example. So the virus comes in. Physically, I cannot change the world for the virus not to come in. Mentally, there's nothing in. So I'm going to change how I feel about it in the sense of allostasis takes place. I'm going to elevate my body temperature and activate the entire immune system. Yeah. Right. So I'm going to basically change inside. Mm-hmm. Changing the world is changing outside. Yeah. I can't change outside. I can't change the prediction because the virus is coming. I can't change outside. I'm going to change inside.
So when you mention change inside, that is a matter of just like, say the immune system response, right?
Right.
That's a matter of basically the body just getting into the state that it needs to be.
Meaning
it's not just going to go away. It's not a thing that you can go out and take action to and change. Right. It's a thing. The only solution is to change the way that you are in order to fit.
And remember, this is not about the virus. This is about my perception of the virus.
Yes.
What I think the virus is.
And why you think, you mean not think.
Right. And what your body understands the virus is. So by the way, if your body understands the virus wrong, you're fucked because the reaction will not fit.
Which I think is why we talked about this before, like the body's reaction to something like the flu is, as humans, we grow up our whole lives. It's like, I had the flu, it sucked, I was sick, and it was whatever. But to your body that doesn't have all of that logic flowing through it, of lifetime of like, I don't know, I had it 8 times when I was like, whatever. Like your body goes, no. This is fucking serious. Like there is an intruder in the house, and it's gotta fucking go.
And he's gonna go.
And it doesn't matter that you got to go to work that day. You are detached from this decision making.
Yeah, completely. Because now you need to change the intern. So why are you detached from that is because it's not about changing the prediction. So the system has 3 ways. It can change outside, inside, or the prediction. You dealing like, I'm not that sick. You're trying to change the prediction. That's not the point. Your point is your body is like, no, we're changing ourselves. Yeah. And the changing ourselves is always how much energy do I spend? Mm-hmm. And on what? That's always the key. Yeah. Right. And so that's going to be the base for a lot of stuff we're going to talk about because that's very important. So like the allostasis, immune response, all that stuff. We're going to link that in the next podcast to emotions in a very interesting way. But in order to do that...
We're going to buy a brand new iPad.
Exactly. I saved it. But before we go there, because we're going to relate everything as usual with the anxiety and all that stuff, who gave me that one? Did I find it? Or maybe someone maybe it was Douglas on the community that gave me that one. Yeah, go ahead.
No, you go ahead on this one.
So I wanted to first start by talking about a study that we were reading, which is very important because he was in the Journal of Anxiety Disorders, and he was explaining the difference finally between cardio and strength training when it relates to anxiety. Mm-hmm. And do you know that this is the only study I've ever found on that?
Well, you had said that and looking around, you said also that like exercise is kind of like the term used.
So I wanted to go into that. So the medical work has a huge bias when it comes to stuff like that. But remember we talked about it in the about Weinstein's podcast about the mice and the telomeres and everything.
Yeah, about how the basis of what you're looking at. If you're looking at the wrong thing or giving it the wrong priority or whatever it is, or if you're assuming the assumptions made at that really. Right. If those assumptions are wrong, everything that you're doing is fucking not pointless, but can really throw you off.
Right, because then it's only true you have to understand that no matter how the study is done, the truth from the study comes from a context. Mm-hmm. Outside of that context, you don't know.
Yeah. So on the Weinstein stuff, that was essentially that the mice were compromised as far as when it comes to being able to test toxicity for sure.
The mice were compromised, so that means testing was not valid.
And so in this case, though, it's funny because we're finding that almost everything is done with cardio.
Right. So it's very interesting.
All of the benefits that you're getting listed, or that it doesn't work, or you're not seeing any major breakthroughs,
is only on one thing: cardio based. And why does it matter? That's exactly what we're going to talk about. So there's one other study was saying like cardio or strengthening did not make a difference. It was on one session.
Yeah.
One session. Yeah. And it was like, it doesn't make a difference. I'm like, but so when they say hard training, they mean heart rate over 80%, but still on the bicycle. So that means that, because there's been so much written about the effect of exercise on anxiety, depression, that it's as good as pills or whatever, but it has not been defined. And one of the reasons is because it's only been done on the bicycle, which is insane. Right.
Yeah.
So
if you can't tell me that in this space of you're actually doing research stuff on like,
isn't that strange?
Like nobody is going to differentiate between the actual like the state of the person and the result, like everything that goes on into strength training or cardio. They're like, no, exercise is fucking crazy to me.
See what they need us so much. Because without us they can't do even that study is done with machines like bench press and everything. Like there's I'll talk about it at the end, but there's so many variables to this that oh my God, we need to do a lot better. Anyway, so I found that was crazy. The reason I think looking at anxiety and exercise in the other studies as a major problem is the issue of VO2 max versus VLA max. So if you're watching this, hopefully you've seen all the studies, all the podcasts we've done on the lactate.
Yeah.
And so the lactate and there then becomes completely different. Because remember, VO2 max, right? So I can't remember which podcast it was, but we explained, is clearance of lactate, is being able to use lactate properly. But you do not produce lactate in when you do cardio, some, but not at the levels that you do on start, because cardio usually means over 2 minutes, over 5 minutes, like most of that stuff, especially cardio, it's always usually over a certain amount of time at a certain heart rate. You produce some lactate, but it's basically using the lactate as fuel. You can still produce lactate in an aerobic state, but it's not nearly the same as anaerobic state.
Which is exactly why, again, it's not this nor that.
Right. There's always a range. So I don't want to go aerobic versus anaerobic because that's not true either. So I'm not going to make the mistake they're making.
Yeah.
But the fact is there's a dial, right? And you can produce lactate in aerobic state, but in anaerobic state, you will produce much more. So to phrase how they go with exercise and anxiety, imagine a study where we look at anxiety and the clearance of lactate alone, but never anxiety and the production of lactate. Why does it matter? Because lactate is the main fuel for the brain. Because we know that the accumulation of lactate in the brain leads to, from people with anxiety, to panic attacks by giving them like the sodium, I can't remember the name of it, but that solution of lactate, it takes them from anxiety attacks to panic attacks. So we've seen lactate and acidity in the brain having a relationship with anxiety. So there's a massive relationship between lactate and anxiety on many, many different levels, right?
Yeah.
And also lactate is a fuel, but it's also an anti-inflammatory. So there's a very complex system at play there. And all we're studying is clearance of lactate and anxiety.
Yeah. And what if it's your ability to clear, depending on the person,
right?
They're really testing their ability to clear lactate that maybe they're producing an insufficient amount of.
Right. So then what happened? Well, so exactly. So those were all the questions. We are like, it can't be the same. So we have been doing a lot of testing of that with the Disney December on one side versus the Burn the Question, which is more like toward the VLA max training and stuff like that. And we've done the studies and then with Wim, we were looking at anaerobic threshold difference between fight and flight. So that's what we've been working on. And so for us, it was always obvious that cardio and strength training, when it comes to anxiety and lactate, are not the same.
Correct.
Like that one is obvious. Yeah. And yet they did not test. So finally we found one study,
Uno,
that decided to go at anxiety by making people do cardio, anxiety people doing strength training, anxiety people on the waiting list. And then they started to look at all the differences. So, I know the stuff, I'm just curious to see what they were doing for methods. Whatever, like the rest, you can read it. So it's called The Efficacy of Aerobic Exercise and Resistance Training as Strength Diagnostic Interventions for Anxiety-Related Disorders and Constructs, a randomized controlled trial.
That's in the Journal of Anxiety Disorders.
And it's also on the StrongFit library.
Yep.
So what they found was very interesting is that this is an idea that we'll keep on pushing in the next few weeks, is that cardio was helping anxiety as an overall feeling of being not as anxious, right? Because they have to fill up questionnaires and stuff like that. So it was like an overall feeling. Whereas with strength training, they were able to get better at specific anxiety disorders.
Yeah, and I think that's important. You say specific anxiety disorders or even specific instances, right? Recurring instances. But I think that anxiety, this blanket term of anxiety, is something we have to break apart now.
Exactly.
Eventually.
Right, yes.
In that anxiety is more of a, what would you describe it as? A series of possible things that fall under that umbrella.
And that belong into, so we did a podcast about happiness, but with specific, we did that one, right?
I think so.
Oh God, I think we did. Well, but so I'll just go. So for example,
I know we did.
We did. Okay, yeah. So it was that paper about emotions that was so good. It was one of the best papers I read in a long time, where it was a lady, Lisa something, that were going at explaining emotions in a different way. But her main thing was like, there is no happiness. There's happiness when you're with friends. There's happiness there. So that any emotion exists only in a context of an event, right? That everything is event based. that there is no overall. There's only context-based, event-based, because the body always looks for patterns to put things in events, because it cannot. The brain never processes a stimulus by itself.
Yeah.
He only does it as an event. It's far more energy efficient to do it like that. So we never process, oh, it's green. It's always everything at the same time that is shaped into an event, like a bubble. And then whenever the same thing gets close enough to that, you just pick up the same one.
Yeah, that's why, and we've talked about this there too, is that everything being framed in event is the reason why, like, you go into a house and you smell like, you know what I mean? If I smell like something simple, like a goddamn green bean casserole, I'm going to be like grandma's place. It's the whole thing.
It's the event.
I'll feel everything. I'll feel like a kid again.
Yes.
And that
so it's an entire experience.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right. And that's why you go to a great restaurant, it's an experience, because it brings you somewhere else.
Yeah.
So we can only process events.
Whole experiences.
We process whole experiences, events. Never like there is such a thing as just so that becomes very interesting, because it tells you that there is no anxiety. There's only event context-based anxiety. That's why you have social anxiety, you have all that stuff. And what this was showing is that the strength training helped with specific anxiety disorders. So the context-based ones.
Okay.
So what is truly anxiety on the side of emotion. So that leads me to believe that what the cardio helped was not a anxiety, they just felt less of the negative.
Yeah,
I'll come to that in the next podcast. But that's I have a way of thinking about this.
Yeah, and I want to make sure. So I want to know how you reconcile. We've talked very much about the role of lactate in anxiety.
Yeah.
Right. We've also talked about anxiety as a somatic error. Right. As far as like or somatic errors contributing to. It's kind of.
And then the bigger they get, the more you go toward.
Can you like put those two together? Like, you know what I mean? In a
how is lactate
like define it within how that fits with the somatic error.
Right.
Like because we'll say, you know, that somatic errors are kind of at the root or
at the root of the problem always at all problems.
But that lactate is
but
some
that's
sort of
because
lactate dysfunction in your arch. Matters.
But that's because so I need to go back a little bit to do that then. The idea is, so anxiety is somatic error. Why? Anxiety in the sense of as an overall, right, which doesn't exist as we say, but basically is a call to action.
Yeah.
So that's why anxiety can only be context dependent, because you only call to action based on an event happening.
Okay.
So that event is whatever happens. A car is coming at you. You remember you got hit.
Yeah.
The event pops up in your mind and your whole system goes, hey, last time this happened, this is how we need to deal with it now. Negative stuff, everything goes up, you expend whatever energy you need to avoid getting hit again. So like that anxiety can be second long or it can be months long if you have a buildup of an event that just like last time this happens. And so anxiety in that case is a call to action. So that's the important part, is call to action. That means that you're going toward the sympathetic side and everything. So the key for that, the name is action. What we realize now is that the body, when they say they run on glucose and everything, is not true. The body runs on lactate.
Yeah.
Saying the body runs on glucose, I think your car runs on dinosaurs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's literally saying that.
Yeah, there's a lot of things happening at one time.
The dinosaur has to die, he has to stay in the ground for 100 million years, and then he has to be processed, extracted, then processed and everything. So that's the problem when people say glucose, is like, no.
Yeah, it's like, of course lactate. There's glucose in there.
Yes.
There's glucose around all sorts
just
of
like we needed the dinosaurs to get the gasoline in the car.
Yeah,
but it's literally the same relationship.
Yeah.
Right, so the key is lactate. And that's something for 100 years we did not see, is the lactate is the fuel, is everything. It's a fuel, it's an anti-inflammatory, it's a hormone. It's the stuff that basically, the second we start moving, carrying us everywhere. It also crosses the blood-brain barrier. It's also the fuel, not just for the muscle, but for the brain.
Okay.
So that means that whenever you're gonna have to be toward action, to fix the somatic error, you need lactate.
Yeah.
You
need to be able to produce it.
You need to be able to use it. Yeah. That means that you're gonna, whether you change the prediction, brain, you need lactate. Move the world around, you need lactate. Move inside, you still need lactate.
Yeah.
Right? Because muscle and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So mostly you're going to use lactate to change the production and to change the world around you, even though lactate does other stuff. But so it's a very specific fuel for that change, to fix the somatic error.
Yeah. And I'm guessing that the action, the magnitude of the action or whatever it may be, is going to require either the massive production of lactate or lesser is going to require at least lactate to be used for the...
Right. So obviously you need to learn to use it because otherwise it doesn't work well. But obviously you need to learn to produce it.
And I think I want to say this is that you talk about anxiety as a, I'm just going to use the term, it's some sort of lactate dysfunction is usually present or imbalance.
That's what we're starting to see. Yeah,
between
exactly.
the two, right? But do you, this is what I'm kind of seeing is you can end up in an anxiety place whether you can either not produce lactate or whether you can't clear it.
But that's where actually we're starting to, we made mistake. For example, it was posted on the StrongFit community by Ta. She posted it where a neuroscientist was saying, all right, so we get anxious, our heart beats faster. It was like actually neuroscience is telling us that now we're starting to see that no, your heart beats faster, then you get anxiety. So what we think is anxiety is a representation of something that happens in our conscious mind. We talked about this in the last 20 podcasts. That whatever comes to conscious mind is the letter on the screen that we're reading. That's all. It's just a representation of an entire thing that happens within your body. So anxiety can be, again, good or bad. Can be good because call to action, you need to do something. Energy is being produced. So energy is being produced. I have enough lactate. I can use it properly. Everything is fine. I have good anxiety in that sense. I don't say good and bad. I just need, you know what I mean? I need to find a way to say that. But I had the burning of good and bad. I have functional anxiety. Let's call it that. Functional anxiety, which means I need to get to the gym. It's not that I'm getting too stressed. It's I'm starting to raise my entire, the prediction, changing the world, the whole thing is starting to meet the action that I know I need to take. So, and if I don't do that, I know I'm going to feel like shit. So, you know what I mean? Like that. So it's my prediction system trying to work this out. That's functional anxiety because it's going to make me go to the gym. I'm going to get better. I need that. Right. If something gets in the way, which means I produce a lot of lactate, but I can't use it. So I have that accumulation of lactate that is linked to issues, like for example, brain acidity raising up. So basically to negative issues that have negative physiological consequences because I can produce the lactate. So now I'm thinking I'm going to go to the gym and create even more lactate. Then your body's like a prediction machine goes like, yeah, but every time we do that, there are negative consequences to it. Should I be doing that? And now you start to go, oh, should I? And so now you're like, but I want to go to the gym, but I don't want to go to the... And somatic error because like the whole thing starts to get unraveled.
And that's what's, and on either side of the lactate arch, if you will.
Yes, exactly.
That any dysfunction, either in production or
then your body learns.
Then your body is going to start this kind of slippery slope if you don't balance the other side of it.
Because the somatic error, once they start to get too big, start to deregulate the entire system, and then it's a snowball effect.
And so that's why we can't say if you have anxiety, you need to really up your ability to do.
But even on the extreme, because there's two of them, right? So you have the strength athletes that continuously trains heavy, anaerobic, lots of lactate, doesn't do cardio as he should. We'll do a podcast on that. Doesn't do any conditioning. So that means like conditioning. We did cardio, like strongman cardio. Conditioning. Then you're thinking going to the gym and you go like your body, not you, because you are saying, I'm going to do this because I like being strong. But your body is like, but that excess of lactate is causing this and this and this and this. So now you're starting to chip at your head and you start to go, oh, why am I not motivated today and everything? Because the body's like, we can't clear the lactate. So that's a somatic error. That's a form of anxiety.
So you'll produce less even though you're not able to build the skill to clear because you're doing the wrong shit.
So now it becomes dysfunctional anxiety. Instead of being kind of excited about going to the gym, you're becoming nervous about going to the gym. That becomes, we went from functional, like let's spend more energy, to dysfunctional, which is less energy. Not that less energy is dysfunctional, but you get the idea. Now I'm starting to get toward dysfunctional, which is stopping me from going to the gym, which is something I want to do. So that's one side. But then you have the other side. The top athletes that's a super high VO2 max level that can clear the lactate, any lactate that is produced.
Yeah.
And then I'm thinking, oh, let me go run some more. But then the body is like, because what you want is to run faster. But the body is like, but I can run forever, but I can't run faster because I don't have enough lactate.
Yeah.
To run that fast. You're making
I can't make it.
I can't make it.
Yeah, I could use it all day.
Right, but I can't make it. And so I was like, if you want me to run faster, I need to make some.
And a lot of those, say this specific person we're discussing, specific by specific, I mean imaginary.
I met a few, but
But I mean, it would be safe to guess then what would strength training be like for them?
Right.
As far as what, like,
that's
do
what
they
need.
hate it? Do they suck at it?
Right. So that's what they would need to do, but they don't do it because you don't do strength training, and running makes you slow. So now they're stuck in a place where they can't produce lactate. So they will find ways to produce lactate. How? Anxiety. So which means they're going to start stressing about stuff, creating a sympathetic reaction, running around like being like this, basically creating an environment where they can start to produce the lactate. So that means that you have one anxiety on one side that is somatic, being created by the body, and the other one that is a trait, that is a behavior, anxiety.
Okay.
So they both call for action, except for the opposite. One is because it's already, the anxiety is created out of what you need, but you know what I mean? They're almost opposite. One is a trait. It's like you're fucking up your own life just to produce lactate so you can run faster. Yeah. Where this one is your motivation is going down because what you want to do, your body cannot handle anymore.
It's just not,
So physical versus mental. You have a physical anxiety versus a mental anxiety. Somatic versus trait. Versus behavior.
Burning too hot, burning too cool. Yeah, that's...
right.
Yeah, okay. Well, that's what I wanted to establish. The reason I wanted to establish that difference is then going forward is for if you had trouble connecting all of those dots, if you're listening. There's a lot there. Don't worry about it because what it really means is you need to just balance that arch.
But that's through the extremes though.
Yes.
And that's going to be very important because we're going to talk about that in the next podcast with emotion and immune system. It is a game of extremes.
And I think taking an objective look, take a step back and look at what your training and things are,
and which extreme you're not
truthfully should be able.
And it's not extreme like that. It's like that. There's a bunch of them. That was the idea of critical mass, by the way. Like the early StrongFit stuff, where when one falls out of this, the chain reaction cannot happen. Like it's a game of extremes. You need to have all extreme worked, and the question is which one are you not training?
Yeah.
So what I found interesting, with this stuff is they were saying that the cardio allows you to feel better overall. So why? Because it cleared the lactate and it allows you to basically contain, like that will come into the next podcast a bit more.
Well, when you mentioned, but the reason it makes you feel better overall, is that because you're going to clear this lactate and the excess buildup of lactate is usually a cause for anxiety anyways.
Exactly.
So you've got it all out. You're going to have a general thing, but maybe you're not balancing
you
the
don't
arch.
have, right, no, at all. So what they're saying about you, so it's not that cardio has helped anxiety in that it does, but you know, like you bang your hand against the wall 10 times, it feels really good when you stop.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
There's that.
Yeah.
Right. So that's what this is. The cardio allowed you to go, oh, okay, I've stopped
feel a little better.
Pushing the fucking anxiety button nonstop.
Even though if you didn't do the work on the other side of it, that might actually be a slight step backwards.
It will. Okay. Wait, but at least you know, like, and so on the other side though, you have the strength training that helps the specific disorder, like the context-based anxiety, the event-based, which is the true anxiety. Yeah. That is the one that will lead you to depression, by the way. Is that one. So that's why we say strength training is necessary against depression, because strength training means that you can go at the root of the issue.
Okay.
So the cardio allows you to go at the symptoms, like, oh, I feel better because I'm not right.
Soften the symptoms.
And everything, which is very necessary. But on the other side, you have the root of the problem, which is the specific anxiety disorder that you're currently having an issue with. Yeah. And that's what strength training does. It helps you directly with the disorder. And to me, that makes sense because to deal with a disorder, that requires a lot of brain power and stuff like that. It requires a lot of fuel.
Yeah. Well, and that is you mentioned that fuel and energy. And
fuel.
And you mentioned that in the beginning, is a lot of this is about energy expenditure.
Yeah. It's always is.
Where to put
it's always is. That's the principle of allostasis, is that it's all about energy expenditure. It's how much energy am I spending on this? Okay. This is what the prediction is about. Continuously, is how much energy should I spend on this? So what happens when I spend too much energy? Because that's going to be the next podcast. Like if I have a fever that runs too high, everything shuts down.
Yeah.
Right. So it's always that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It always comes to that. So I found that this was very, very interesting because they were showing also the specific disorder that were helped through the strength training, and there were stuff like, for example, so there was social anxiety, there was anxiety sensitivity, the idea that when I feel being nervous about feeling anxious, because I know when I feel anxious, it's out of proportion. So I'm nervous about maybe feeling
how
anxious.
I'm going to feel.
Yeah, exactly. Which is, of course, makes you more anxious and causes the same problem. And you have something.
It really
for
sounds
example,
an awful lot like if I have to go into a store or somewhere where I don't want to go, where I'm like, this is already going to piss me off.
Exactly.
One thing, you're pissed off. I'm already mad and anxious about the possibility of being mad.
The idea that you're going to get mad and anxious. Yeah. So it's a square. Mad and anxious.
Fucking
square.
working on it.
Yes,
guys.
Exactly. And so you have that, and you have what's very interesting in there too is you see it was helping distress tolerance.
Yeah.
So that is very interesting because distress tolerance, that's something we're talking with Douglas on the StrongFit community, is not something you're going to hear about much. It's very hard to find. And the reason is because distress tolerance is the pain tolerance that they were using in the pain clusters.
Okay.
You know, like the guy with the balloon up his ass?
Yeah.
And I was like...
never forgot that
Yeah,
guy.
exactly. And I was like, that's a bad way of explaining what this is.
Yeah.
And so no, it's not pain tolerance, it's distress tolerance. Then it takes us back to the pain clusters, which I find very interesting. Mm-hmm. And so the idea that strength training helps with distress tolerance goes so far. So let me give you a practical example. I was talking to Michael about this, Amiras, a special fit about this. Distress tolerance is one of the main problem with on being on the spectrum with autistic people. They tell you that when you're autistic, one of the main symptoms is anxiety. And I was like, that doesn't seem right. And that's because, well, they're right, but it depends on which anxiety, which event are we talking about, which context. And the context is distress tolerance. That's what you see autistic people when there's repetition of a negative stuff, they can't take it.
Yeah.
But is that not what distress tolerance is? What is distress tolerance? The capacity to take a negative event repetitively.
Yeah, well, and plus when we talk about anxiety as a driver, it's meant to drive you away from distress.
At some point, it's make you deal with it.
Yeah, deal with it.
And deal with it can be running away.
Yeah, get away or attack it.
Or whatever depending on what needs to be. So that means that distress tolerance, right, is the root of the issue. In that case, what I find very interesting talking about Michael about that is, for example, me, I'm very good at 3 reps. Like what I cannot do repetitive negative stress. Mm-hmm. Like if my keys get dropped 3 times in a row, it stresses me out to levels that I don't understand.
Yeah.
Right. That's because my distress tolerance is very low.
Yeah.
Like all people on the spectrum, and the more on the spectrum you are, the worse it gets. Right. You see that.
Is that a very simplified way of looking at when we talk about? I guess when I was in the field, we used to just call them the behaviors. But if you would, like a episode, if you will.
Yeah. Exactly.
An episode is really just that boiling over point of distress tolerance.
Right. Exactly.
Like no, we're here now. This is. Like
too much,
right,
exactly. And so the question is, where are you on that range of distress tolerance?
And so it's not. It really is like we've talked about sensitivity, hypersensitivity, distress tolerance. All of them kind of point to the same. stuff.
I remember the pain clusters. It was all the same kind of idea. So some people are pain clusters 1, pain cluster 2. Some people are good with distress tolerance. They can take it and go sympathetic, or they're already unsympathetic, so they go. So that's what distress tolerance is. Okay. And what's very interesting, you see that a lot with autistic kids, is you will never see them do cardio.
Yeah.
It's the repetitive. They can't take it. Like I don't like cardio. It's always what do I do? Short, super intense. Push the stuff toward lactate production. But what I'm not good at is the clearance. Mm-hmm. But I don't have a good distress tolerance. But what did I always wanted to do my whole life is lift heavy because it helps with distress tolerance. So I knew it was helping me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you won't see like anybody who deals with autistic kids that they try to train. They like short and heavy.
Yeah.
They like to push, but one time. If you make them repeat, that's repetition is the key. That's the distress tolerance stuff.
And we've seen it in like some isolated specifics with people too, where a little bit of benefit in the strength, a little bit of gains, progress and strength, all of a sudden people are much more open and less I won't say prone to episodes, but more.
No, it takes longer.
Subdued. Yeah.
Yes, it takes longer to get there.
Well, again, if you know the people, you know that you know when they're close. Right.
Right. Yeah.
You know
exactly.
what I mean?
Yeah.
And you know then when it's not. And we've seen people who are improving greatly in the strength space, where that needle starts to move back. That line moves backwards a little bit.
Yeah. I've seen it with Yaya lately, with all our training and stuff like that. So the key for me was very interesting, is the idea of strength training and distress tolerance. Because then that means that, for example, if we looked at pain clusters, I mean, people that have naturally low distress tolerance, they need to do strength training.
Yeah.
So look at what I do. I'm always pushing to be stronger on low reps. Richard, which is on the other pain clusters, he loves to do reps and reps. That's how he progresses.
Yeah, he wants to suffer for as long as possible.
Yeah, exactly. Which me, it's always short, but then suffering in between doesn't bother me at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, like, there's a very interesting thing.
Richard would love to take somebody on for a 30 rep max just to see if you're willing to die.
On squats. Oh yeah, exactly.
Are you willing to die?
Yeah. Me, I would do that on a 15-meter harness.
Yeah.
Because let's see how much weight we can put on it.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, so there's an entire thing that I found very, very interesting. But distress tolerance, which is another concept we're going to talk about in the next podcast, because that has to do with emotion, stuff like that. There's a very, very interesting concept there. But what helps that is strength training, not cardio. They didn't see any difference with the cardio. So that means that distress tolerance and lactate productions are related. So then the pain clusters, could it be that you're on the pain cluster because you do not naturally produce enough lactate? So maybe it's almost like a metabolism thing, where your level of production is not high enough, so therefore you need to train to get it there. But going back to a certain type of pain cluster needed action to feel good. So that means that some people have to move more. So Japanese,
it would make sense.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, and that's what I was just going to say, is there is possibility then that bias could be shaped somewhat by combination of genetics, epigenetics, that there is an environmental component, at least at the root of it. It's not saying that what's going on right now in your life is at the root of it, but your upbringing, your childhood, DNA, when all of those patterns were built, gut flora. There's a lot of things in there.
So that shows you how complex the system is. But what I found was so interesting was the idea of strength training necessary for distress tolerance. Because if you look, I think distress tolerance is social anxiety is something, but if you look to me, I think distress tolerance is a level, not below, but like past like social anxiety. Because social anxiety, you're going to get it because you have distress tolerance issue when it comes to a specific event.
Well, I think distress tolerance is just a better term for whatever it is
for anxiety
that we're looking for. Yeah.
Almost. You know what I mean?
Yeah, or at least what your triggers are. You know what I mean? Or at least whatever your line is. I don't know. But when you mentioned that term to me, we were walking the other day, I was like, huh.
That's a good term.
Good one. I spend a lot of time with what we do here at StrongFit,
exactly.
Trying to figure out how to communicate things that work. Even goddamn captions on YouTube, all of that is like, it takes a little work to communicate some of these things.
Yeah, because sometimes otherwise you're not precise enough.
So when I hear something that's really good.
And that was good.
It works.
Yeah, it's like metabolic insult.
Metabolic insult.
That was a good.
Or what was the fact that functional integration training template is fit.
Fit, yeah, exactly.
I see that, I'm like, hey, we are set.
Yeah, that was completely by mistake. I just got lucky. But so, yeah, the one of the big points out of that study for me is that distress tolerance is increased through strength training.
Yeah.
That opens up, and not cardio, that opens up a lot of doors.
And the truth is you need both. So for someone who...
Oh yeah, you still need both. Yeah, there's no question.
So when we say this, so you've been doing cardio all your life, you have issues with anxiety, start strength training, still do your conditioning, still do your cardio.
If you're strength training all your life and you have some time like you feel like you're either have panic attacks or you guess what? You need to do more conditioning.
You don't need to get weaker. You just need to do some more.
We're going to do a podcast about that, where the importance of conditioning for strength athletes, because for me it makes a huge difference. And I don't do that much, but there's a minimum I need to do, and if I don't, the energy in my strength session goes down. So everything is a notch. The key, as we always say, is that there is a balance. Now, my balance is not your balance, and that's okay, because I know exactly where I want to be. But even within that, there's a notch. There's a balance within whatever I want to be in life, doesn't matter. Within that position, there's a balance to have, to be able to be at your best. And that's a very important part. And this is finally a door opening toward that, because now through studies like this, we can finally start testing the true benefits of exercise when it comes to anxiety and depression. Because before, we had only one side of the equation, and that's why we're like,
Yeah.
And by the way, they also showed that how much you liked exercise did not matter.
Oh, really?
And that is a lot, because a lot of doctors have said that strength training was working great for depression because of the connection person-trainer. Socialization was the problem and not the exercise.
You know what? But that is a good point to point out.
That is a good point.
It's a
They
really
tried,
good point.
didn't make a difference.
Yeah. So but that's the thing. That's a good thing. When you just mentioned that, I love that amidst everything. Where I was like, no, that's a fucking thing that I bet a lot of people didn't think of.
No, it's a good point.
It's like, no, you're talking to a person who cares about what you're doing.
How much do you like the exercise? Does it matter? No, it doesn't. They tried, but that's true.
Yeah,
it's like, they just like the exercise. No.
Yeah, even the ones they didn't like.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so that's really interesting.
So after that,
would it work better if they liked it?
No, they try both. They make a difference.
What if you like it a lot? That part seems a little fishy to me, don't you? Maybe not. Okay, maybe we're talking.
No. You'll get better at it, but that doesn't mean we're talking distress tolerance.
Yeah. Okay. Simply for that metric.
Yeah, because you love an exercise.
Yeah.
Right. What distress? It's lower than the exercise you hate.
True.
So you're not building up distress tolerance anyway.
With distress. Yeah.
Yeah. Unless it's too much, and then you know what I mean. It's never that simple.
Well, and that's what's always hard too, is that you look at any study and you start plugging in some sort of human element to it.
But you have to.
Like a lot of those studies are talking about, we're studying single muscle fibers and shit, and then we're going through and they're pulling a muscle fiber, and then they're testing
leg extension.
with a leg extension, and they're testing 10 rep max leg extensions and no other exercises.
Yeah, no, it's completely
And
bullshit.
what those you know what those people are doing when they go home? Whatever the fuck they want, and they're all doing something totally
but plus
different.
you have not stressed the system anymore. None of this can work.
Yeah.
Like none of those studies they're not quantitative, they're qualitative, which means we're starting to create hypotheses right now about really the role of exercise toward health.
Yeah.
And we're doing it in a piss poor way because those people do not go after. They don't even understand the difference. If you don't understand the difference between strength training and cardio, like, oh my God.
They're shining light on 10% of what the benefits of what exercise
in
is.
one context.
Yeah.
So that means they'll go like, see, exercise doesn't work for that. Well, yeah, because you did it on the bicycle at 60% of your heart rate.
Yeah.
But if I've done it on a set of squat, who knows?
Yeah.
And that's the problem. We don't. Yeah. So that's why we've been testing us like for so much, because I can tell the differences, but those studies cannot. And so finally there was one, and right away, right off the bat, you get so much good stuff, like so much golden nuggets out of that. You go like, oh, there you go. Now we're talking. Self-efficacy, which is skill, works well, but liking an exercise doesn't. Liking the trainer didn't seem to make that big of a difference. But even that trainer, there's a lot of stuff where, you know what he was showing? That, very interesting, that people that were out of shape got better results than people in shape.
Why?
Because they all did the same training.
Oh, so they just covered more ground? As far as
you start strength training. You get fucking strong in 4 weeks.
I'm going to get a 30% adaptation, and yours might be 2.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. But that's not that.
Fuck it.
No, but like so if you don't understand that, then the study, but like obviously you're gonna have to do one on strength athletes. On strength athletes, like you would have to get them off, and so it's very hard. But that's the problem is all those studies, man. There's so many variables.
Well, and this is why it's hard. This is why we're not in the business of designing studies. Thank God.
No, but actually we're going to start.
Well,
we have Harper. Soon we'll have someone who's she's doing her and she's watching the podcast. Hi Harper. She's going to do her PhD on a lot of that, the lactate anxiety. So we're going to start designing our own studies. They'll be qualitative at first because we are trying to produce still hypotheses, but specific ones. People don't understand how science works.
Yeah.
Science is hypothesis versus observation. So that means that empirical evidence is only observation. You don't do science only through observation. That is not true. People do not understand. All you get out of observation is an hypothesis.
Yeah.
Then you have to go again through empirical evidence to make sure. It doesn't work like that. It drives me crazy.
I was just listening to a thing on the way over here. They were talking about how the scientific method is actually it's touched on when you teach science, if you will.
Yeah.
But the average person who's gone through the school system, their understanding of the scientific method is that science is this list of facts, essentially, that are inflexible. And the fact is what science is this list of hypotheses and a fucking process to fucking testing them out. And
right.
That's it.
And to try to disprove them, because there's no proving, because it's always a percentage game.
Yeah.
So, but you see, if the percentage are too big, then it's disproven. But it's never proven completely.
No.
And the percentage will never be zero either. It just won't be 100%. So the point is, it's hypothesis versus observation. Hypothesis means you get a pattern that you see. That's a creative process. That's what. So I do science by hypothesis. I try to create hypothesis.
Yeah.
Going like, I see a pattern. Can that be true? And that's the question. Can that be true? So from there, I'm going to make a prediction. If that's true, this is a prediction that I make. Then I test it, and then empirical evidence tells me if the prediction that I made came true or not.
Yeah.
And if it comes true within the right percentage, then we can say it's a valid hypothesis, and then we can start testing it further and further and further.
Yeah.
But there is no science without hypothesis.
Well, there's an interesting concept, around the old thing. There's innovators, early adopters, and everyone else, right?
Yeah.
An innovator is a person willing to have a fucking hypothesis and put it out there.
And maybe it goes wrong.
And early adopters are people willing to test that out and see what's up.
Right. And then and then everybody else, who that is? All the PhDs after that.
Everyone else has to wait until they're like, okay, well, that seems like it's okay. I guess I'll give it a try. And that's fine. The process
or
just
5 years later, they go like, well, you said that on the study and everything.
Yeah.
But the work of science is done by the innovator, the people that formulate crazy hypotheses, because all those fucking PhDs, like that guy on Instagram that was telling me about Prevotella and everything, I found articles saying that, guess what? I was right.
Yeah.
Like, I'll start posting them. But those guys, all they do is take the work of others and after that say, I'm a scientist and go criticize other people.
Yeah. It's an entire complex built on basically, the whole system is really built on like just going around and defending yourself by shitting on other people.
Right, but that's because that's the problem of the Ponzi scheme that is Western education right now, that has produced a Darwinian environment where to be able to make money and have a career, you need to kill everybody else.
Yeah.
And so, but that's becoming detrimental to science. It used to be a good thing because then, the top people try to go on top.
Yeah.
But now we have so many drones, it's becoming detrimental.
Yeah.
Because the drones are starting to are being sent to kill everybody else because it's money based.
Yeah,
that's what worries me about science today. It's like the capitalism is introducing a constraint that is leading not to its demise, but that is undermining science.
Yeah,
there's no question.
It's incentivizing the wrong things.
Not hypothesis.
Yeah.
Because you can't produce out of that. So it's like an hypothesis was made, let's just produce a fuck ton out of it.
Yeah.
And so and after that, let's reduce the guy's name to shit.
That philosophy, that hypothesis, this scientific method, this thing you hang on to very dearly, that fundamentally, the testing of the hypothesis.
Yes.
We've talked about it a lot. I'll try to drag Julien into some moon landing talk, and he goes to just one thing doesn't prove anything. You pull everything back to the scientific method, even amongst those types of discussions, just so that we can make sure that like we're playing the same game. You know what I mean?
Right, so we are having the same conversation. Otherwise,
because
you're speaking Hebrew.
Otherwise, I can just
Arabic.
talk about something that's interesting. That's one thing.
Right.
But if we're trying to reach some sort of understanding,
but so we can have a conversation.
Yeah.
Because you will refer to something that I don't necessarily know, where I'll talk about something that you didn't necessarily see. But so if we speak the same language, we can go, okay, because this invalidates that, or prove this, or whatever.
Yeah.
But otherwise, all we have to do is to speak a language the other one does not understand. And then we can each have our own opinion. Yeah. But then that's not how the shit is done.
But that theory, that way of like, we have an idea. A hypothesis is nothing more than an idea based on something you're seeing out there, right?
Yeah,
and
totally.
So we'll have, with StrongFit all the time, we'll have an idea that will kind of flesh out into a plan, and we'll have our opinions on it.
And let's see.
And our opinions on it, if they're way far off, that we'll decide, we're not going to do that. You know what I mean? But for the most part, we'll look at it and say, we don't know. It seems like it fits. Then we do. Poof, off we go.
And then I'll try. And sometimes I'll go, I tried, no, didn't work out.
Yeah. But that's, but that part is...
But what kills me is attacking people for having an hypothesis. I was like, but if we keep doing that, then nothing will ever be found.
Yeah, because if you say that in other terms, what you're doing is you're just running around shitting on every new idea that somebody has.
But by the way, this is the same problem we had when I did internal talk, where everybody told me to shut up.
Yeah.
It's like, shut up, you don't know what you're talking about. I was like, I'm pretty sure I do. Like, plus, by the way, whether I know I have...
Whether or not there was 500 studies at that moment that were going to back you up or not doesn't change the fact that
I have a valid question.
It was a valid question, and it was based on some sense that worked in the real world.
Right, and again, I made an hypothesis at the time, and the observation were proving me right. So telling me, well, just shut up is not...
Yeah.
Like, all I need to do is you to explain to me where I'm wrong, and then I'm done.
Yeah.
There's something on Instagram going on about Albert Einstein. I don't know if it's right or not. I didn't have the time to check it, but if it's true, it's crazy. Him saying like there was a book made by 100 authors proving Einstein was wrong about relativity, and his answer was like, why 100? One would be enough if he could prove me I'm wrong.
That's exactly right. You just need one.
So two things. First of all, he's right. And second of all, Einstein had a book with 100 authors just to blast him. Isn't that crazy?
That's how you know you've made it.
No, but isn't that crazy? The world... Yeah. Am I the only one who find this insane? Yeah. That this is how this works? Like, aren't you guys worried that when you have 100 people going at one of the... Someone who changed the world in ways we still don't even fathom. Yeah, read history, see what the world was when it came to physics before Einstein. Yeah. That guy changed the course of the world. The reason we can have this podcast is because of him. Yeah. That guy was attacked left and right. Like, I told you, Jew science.
Yeah.
Like, that's a German physicist who said that. Yeah, Jew physics or Jew science. He was attacked by 100 authors, I wonder how many of them German, just to say, you're wrong. But in a book, it's like, just fucking prove it. Yeah. You disprove the stuff, done. But that's what they were doing, but they were just basically... am I the only one worried that this is how the system goes? Yeah. Like when I was internal talk, they did... Like it's like when with a protocol nutrition, they don't say, this is why you're wrong. They just go like, you're wrong, you don't know what you're talking about, go eat shit. Yeah. I'm like, but that's not proving
or
me
they'll
wrong.
Go to one narrow piece of the mechanism and say, well, what about this? And so you're not talking about the whole experience.
Right, because you use that term. You said off instead of for. You know what I mean? And I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah. But in the meantime, no one is ever going at me on the circadian rhythm. Mm-hmm. No one is ever going at me. Do you know what I mean?
And all the fundamental principles add up.
So explain to me why I'm wrong so I can learn. Yeah. Tell me why.
Well, there is a lot of that going around. It's the thing is, you want to just be right. And I don't want to be right. I want to be right eventually. Right. I don't need to be right now. Yeah. I want to just be right. So if I'm wrong...
I don't have to be right. I just want the truth.
Let's fucking line it up.
How he works. Yeah. I'm just interested in how he works.
Because in the end, you want to do right instead of just be right. That's important.
Yeah, exactly. So I just want to apply the shit correctly.
Yeah.
That's what I want.
Yeah, I mean, if it came down that like one single component or... in the protocol needed to be shifted around for it to work, and it would
I would do it on myself first.
Yeah, exactly. And then you would say, "Hey,
which
guys,
I did, by the way.
Correction."
Which I did. Yeah. But that was the point of internal talk. I was like, guys, external talk is not working. Yeah. Like your shoulders are getting wrecked. It's getting worse. The warm up goes from 5 minutes to 45 minutes. I was like, there's a pattern there. Yeah. It's not working. If external talk is right, I'll use it because it's right on certain things. Like I'll use it where it's right. But if it's not right, I need to find what is right so I can apply it and not have people getting hurt. Yeah. That's always as far as I go.
And plus you're going at that with trying to find the solution to a problem.
And by the way, it doesn't have to be my solution.
No.
If you're out there and you have a better one, I'll use yours. I'll watch your podcast.
And that is a thing that I've gone to a lot, that I always have to work on, but I think it's a thing I've gotten much better at as a person who likes to have just ideas, right? Yeah. Whether it's business plan, whatever it is, I like to have ideas. This environment's really good for me because in a work environment, I can just have an idea, something out of the blue, and it's either, well, try it. If it's not time to try it, we try it. But that's just a really good environment for getting things out. But it's a very human trap to kind of want to just shit on an idea because it's not yours.
Yeah, and but without doing anything about it. Like it's like all the guys that go like, like that fucking French dude with the like under tension versus tour. I'm like, instead of spending, I don't know, like 30 minutes of your life writing a long response and sending to Jean-Marie to send it to me and everything, do your stuff, do your podcast, fix athletes and everything. I'll come to your seminar.
Yeah.
I'll come learn from you because then I can help my people, which is the point. Yeah. I don't give a shit if I'm right or if you're right. If you're right, I'll follow your way. Yeah. But your stuff has to work. You can't just shit on me for saying like my hand turned this way or that way. I'm like, dude, just give me a concept I can use with my people. Yeah. But they never do. Yeah. They never come up with anything new. They never come up with a system to actually help people. All they do is repeat what they learn in school. But I'm like, what if school is wrong? They've been wrong before.
Yeah. Well, and I think...
The earth was flat not so long ago.
Depends on who you ask.
Yeah. No, the question is it still flat?
And the thing about dinosaurs before, I was really trying not to bring up the fact that dinosaurs were fake.
Because you know how we know? Because Jesus rode on a saddle on them.
Everybody knows that.
Yeah.
Well, I think this is a really cool concept with this. And I think the fact that there's only the one means it's not a thing that we should be sad about. What it means is there is a fucking wealth of research to be done.
Well, but by the way, it also means it's stunning.
And that the door is wide open. Because
you need one.
If that's not compelling, if you're in the subject, if you're in the space of anxiety, anything at all,
then you will know about this, and you will finally open the door.
That is the piece that should be a big open door.
Right, and I think that's why we wanted to talk about it. Also, is to say like, the door is opening.
Yeah.
Finally, the break has been made. You know, like that chip in the armor. Finally, and my hope is that the scientific community, in that case, the medical world, sees that they were mistaken into introducing only one form of exercise to study stuff.
Yeah.
So we can move forward, and then that means we have our role to play in this soon.
Yeah.
Right. I'm trying to integrate us into the medical world way more. Like, again, coaches are very much not considered. Yeah, which is a shame because we have such a wealth of knowledge to give on this.
Well, and going forward with to wrap up what we talked about in the beginning is we want to be able to figure out what the markers are for, say, a strong and exceptionally healthy
exactly. And that's what they're not doing, and their bias is humongous.
And on the other side of this, which is what we'll get into on the other end, or in future episodes, is there's a real wellness component to this, not baseline.
That's the next episode. Yeah, exactly.
And I think we want to find out what that is, and we got to start playing these fucking games, and we need to set sights towards that line of
so does it matter? Okay, so is there a difference between like not bad and feeling awesome? Is there a difference outside of perception? Is there a physical difference?
Yeah.
But not just perception. Oh, I feel good today. Is there a difference in your immune system, in your system as a whole? Is there a difference between the two? Because right now in the medical world, we're basically banking into going from bad to not bad.
Yeah.
But like at the extreme of wellness, what happens at the extreme of wellness? Like, and that's why we're going to talk, and what the whole system is based, and we're going to link immunology and emotion, because there's a study that a paper that someone did on that, not a study, a paper, that was, I thought, very interesting, because he opens many doors that that leads back to exactly this. So that's why we did this first, so I can do the next podcast and relate it back to this.
Yeah.
It's a very interesting concept there.
We've got Julien, it was yesterday, right? Julien calls me yesterday after I say, bro, I'm fucking wrecked, I gotta go.
Yeah.
I go home. Lay down, get settled.
Yeah, but I know you feel better.
Of course. Julien, he's like, dude, you got to call me. So I get up. It's perfect. And Julien, it's been a while. I would say it's probably been 2 months, month and a half since I saw you on fire about a new thing like that one.
Yeah. That one was like, ooh.
Because so these next few steps here from where this goes is going to be kind of cool. So,
especially from the practical aspect. Because then he puts the light on something very, very important.
In terms you can use to describe to other people too. It's not all sciencey. It's good.
Right. And again, he shows like that staying in the center is one of the most damaging thing. It seems to be that it's one of the most damaging thing, which might be a societal issue, because I was thinking about that. Look at Facebook, what Facebook promotes is the art of never resolving a conflict.
Yeah.
Marry yourself, love yourself. Like what we are saying to women.
Perfect how I am. You disagree with me, then
you're obese. You're fine. You're fine. You know what I mean? Like
you can walk. You can roll through the whole space, and you can just jump on shit you don't like.
What we are saying to women in their 20s, is telling me there will be a sacrificed generation of women. Like if you're in your 20s right now, you're screwed, because what they're telling you does not fit the world in any shape or form. Your 30s are gonna be rough.
Yeah.
Talk about anxiety, it's going to be very rough, because because I'm against this entirely, but there was a post this morning, a woman responding in a very nice and sweet way, but a post responding that Michael Jordan, that new documentary that came out of it and everything, and she was like, well, it's great that he found early what he wanted to do and everything, but a lot of us, we don't. And she was like, I started a podcast, I stopped. I started this, I stopped. And then she went through the stuff list and it was like, I discovered that my passion lies in the moment And then she basically started to explain very sweetly and very nicely that she was justifying herself quitting everything she tried to do. And
a static existence now.
Right, of never committing to anything.
Yeah.
And she was saying, well, that's what kids do. But I'm like, but you're not 6.
Yeah.
You're in your mid-20s, and you can't build anything in life without grit, without sticking to it even when it doesn't want to. You know what I mean? Like, you want to be strong, you're going to have to go to the gym even on the days when it feels heavy, and you still do quality work even though you don't feel too good. You know what I mean? All that stuff. And the way she was talking, she was justifying having quit everything that she did.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and then she, like all happy at the end, like give me a hug kind of thing. And I'm like, but you asking us to tell you that it's okay to quit.
Yeah.
And
it's not because they want to be mean. It's because it's like, baby, I want you to
do better. But her
not do better for me.
Her entire argument for quitting
yourself.
was like, I feel stressed. That was her argument for quitting. But I'm like, exactly.
And it's like you were almost there.
Yes, exactly. It's like,
and that's
because if the body is a creature of extreme, you need to feel stress, but then you also need to feel extremely well.
Yeah.
But that's the key, is you're trying to be in the center where there is no I feel stress, but then there is no I feel well either.
Yeah.
That's what I see as a societal issue right now, is that center, like, just be not bad. You know what it reminds me of, and we'll talk about this, antidepressants. Mm-hmm. I'm not bad. I'm not good either, I'm not bad.
It's like, listen, man, we're going to stop the bleeding.
Right,
exactly.
You know
how you feel bad, and you're going to feel worse.
But you're not feeling too bad.
Yeah, we're going to shine that up a little bit.
Right, exactly.
Your life's not good. Yeah.
Right, but isn't that everything we're doing, like the sympathetic fixes?
Well, there's
like all the stuff we talked about.
There's something to be said about this when we talk system design, is that the more I look into it, is really any system that shines a light in any way on something is only going to get more than that, because by looking at it, you're incentivizing its presence.
Yeah, exactly.
This medical system where things we're treating dysfunction. That's it.
Yeah.
We don't intervene until there's a problem, right?
Yeah.
So all we do is go in, hunt problem. That when we zoom back on the whole human health, which is supposed to be the point of that system, all we do is focus on problems, and all we're doing is basically band-aiding and then creating more problems elsewhere.
But you know what that means, right? So maybe they don't want to go to very good, because then after there's too much distance to bad where I need to treat you, because then I can't make money.
Yeah.
But so that means that gap is going to shorten, which means we're going to keep people
it's a feedback
little bit worse
Yep.
every time, because then more treatment. So we're going to find that sweet spot where they don't die, but they feel like shit continuously, so they can be treated continuously.
And that will only work in this teeny little space. But again, as you zoom back, the overall health of the entire population will suffer because of it. Because our system, the system truly is dysfunction based.
Right.
We treat dysfunction, therefore we will never get any better than a certain population being not as dysfunctional, and the rest being in some sort of process of remedying their dysfunction. And by the way, and that's fucking insulting.
You still have to set a limit as to what dysfunction means.
Yeah.
So then all you have to do with the system is take that and go this way every time.
Now, I think you should just move that line. I think everything that's not you feeling good and getting your shit done is dysfunction. And let's start there.
Right. So behavior instead of feeling. So my problem with that lady, she was like, I will change my behavior to not feel stressed. But I'm like, but then you're never going to do anything in life. That idea that you change, so in that case, you instead of the world, is insane.
Yeah.
That's a sympathetic fix, right? So the world is stressful, right? So therefore, I'm going to glorify not doing anything. Yeah. I'm going to basically change myself to not go toward the world. And which that's not even that. Is now I'm going to glorify that.
Yeah. Which again, only focusing attention on that thing, that's all you're going to get then.
And you know what?
So for her, maybe the podcast wasn't going to work. Maybe the YouTube channel wasn't going to work. Maybe writing a book wasn't going to work. Maybe all of those things wasn't it. But like the act of trying, even starting those things for Christ's sake is a big win. Once you start pulling back on, I didn't need any of those things, you're going to no longer need anything.
Yeah, because now she justified.
Yeah.
She justified being excited about something for 3 days and doing that and moving on. But then the 3 days is going to turn into 2, and going to turn into 1. And then she'll be massively depressed and never understand why.
Yeah.
because the world doesn't work like that. And this is like the same thing with telling everybody to never ever get good at conflict resolution.
Yeah.
Like someone doesn't like you, tell him to fuck off. Tell him to. Yeah.
There's nothing to overcome. When you talk about that on social media,
yes.
There is no overcome. There is no understanding. We can't disagree. We can't learn anything from each other, and that's really fucking hard. On the note you talked about with the stress in that environment too, another thing that'll be coming up is there's some really cool stuff on emotion in these things, and magnitude and all that stuff. So all of this is going to tie into some pretty cool.
The next one will tie a lot of it together.
And I'm hoping here we've got some of the podcast episode guides are coming, so we'll have some like topical excerpts. And I want to put this whole thing in kind of one order somewhere on the library, so people can kind of go through and like run through this subject with just the pertinent goodies. And I think that'll be cool.
Yeah.
So
let's wrap up, and we'll do because the next podcast anyway is kind of a part 2, so we can go immune system and emotions, and get everything back tied up with this.
Yeah. So that's a good start.
Yep.
Find strongfit.com. That's where we've got in there's the classroom stuff. So you'll find the templates. Jesus, tuning out. You'll find the templates, Julien's one-on-one training. There's still a few spots available for Julien's one-on-one with nutrition and training. 2?
Yeah, maybe.
2,
I don't know. It's getting busy, so we'll see. Yeah.
2, 3. Till the calendar gets full. Excuse me. Then what else we have? StrongFit Equipment, strongfitequipment.eu. Sandbags are moving like hotcakes, but we still got some in stock, so get them while they're hot.
So the new YouTube stuff, since it's
yeah. So I'm moving things all over the place now, trying to get things where they need to be. But we have the new YouTube membership space. YouTube's allowing us to do. You can join the channel, and we've talked about it before in the past. But we've got added to that now is Julien's. We have the entire assessment library archive of long form assessments from you and Richard, like in depth. Some of them are an hour and a half.
They're 4 years old, some of them.
But it's walking all the way through the entire process, and it's really cool. They're really well shot, and they're really neat. I think I think that's a real value. The other cool thing that sits in there, though, is Julien's been doing these basically like short form assessment stuff, single movement, like 5 minutes, you see this.
Well, just to tell you what I see.
But I think that's important because you do so much of that talking, say, within the mentoring program. But it's also good to have that available for some general public too, where it's not a huge expensive thing to get them. So in the membership area, you'll get Julien going through assessments. We'll have our assessment library, early access to the podcast. We've got live Q&As. It's a lot of members only discussion. We're going to be starting there. For me, it's a space where I find myself less and less interested in dealing with anybody in my life that isn't like kind of already like enjoying your presence and the things that you do. Like I got a guy that I buy olive oil from because he's got about 40 kinds of oil and he makes them from scratch,
and he knows them.
And it's really nice. But I'll be goddamn if he wasn't. I went in and we were very nice to each other. The fact that we appreciate being around each other, that's why I go back to that guy. I go to him and he tolerates me and sells me some oil. I'm out. I'm getting that shit out of my life.
That's
and
true.
So this space is cool because everybody's paying a small amount to get in, and it makes me really happy to shove things that way instead of we put them out sometimes on a large scale, and it's a fucking pain in the ass because the good people are getting drowned out by people that I don't give a fuck about and who never give a fuck about us anyways. So
and they never will.
No.
Like we don't even know. They're there. It's like people that say, well, do I get this? Do I get that? Do I get this for free? Like they just want to take. Because it's offered. That's all. And that's very disheartening to work with people like
so there's
that.
a space for us to work where I don't have to deal with that, which is going to be better for those in that space.
Please it makes us happier. If we're happier, we do better work.
For sure.
So there you go.
So everything else is there. Manta Fitness for sandbags in Australia. The rest of the goodies are all kind of found in our link tree. You can find out at StrongFit1 on Instagram. In there, you'll find the links to every program we've got directly. So that's a good spot to start. You can find me at Tyler F. and Stone, Richard's Rare Barracuda. Everything else at YouTube, and I don't know. We're good.
Next time.
See you next time.